Hello, welcome to the Normal America show. Oh, Aircraft Sparky was first. Wow. You beat me even. Though that makes sense since normally I have an introduction. But still pretty good. I'm your host, Robnoerr. You might be asking yourself, why can we not see Rob's beautiful face? Now, if you're a big robnoerr maniac, I figure that's why I start calling my followers Normaniacs. Pretty good, right? I've been watching a lot of old wrestling. If you're a Normaniac, you might say, I know Rob's work schedule is normally he gets off Wednesday, and so his streams Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are almost always at his home studio where we're able to see his beautiful smiling face, and we don't just have this lame background. Actually, it's a good background my friend created, but we actually get to see his beautiful face, and the audio quality's better, and things of that nature. Why am I not doing that? Well, the reason is, for the second day in a row, the person who was supposed to relieve me at work did not come in. So here I am, again, working. That means that I have not seen my family since Sunday evening. Which sucks, because I have a great family. So it's been a lot of FaceTiming my wife and my son. It's aggravating. It's a different line of work, right? Even now when I'm off the clock, I have to be here in case an emergency would spring up. You can't leave. You just can't. You are contractually obligated, legally obligated as a caretaker to not leave. And so it's not like, if you get pissed off if you work at a restaurant, hey, you know what? I'm going home. You can't do that. 40s Mike Rob, you like it? I'm not going to be doing that stream at work. It's not happening. First off, I couldn't because I'd be on the clock. I'm leaving tomorrow. They're going to get someone to come in. So everything should be fine tomorrow. But it's very frustrating. It's frustrating for my wife as well because it's not fair to her. We do this as a team. We decided as a team, when she had Hank, that she was going to leave her job, which she enjoyed, working at a bank. And she was going to be the stay-at-home parent, and I was going to be the one that goes to work. And we, but it's hard for us. We make plans, and then those plans fall through because if someone doesn't show up, that's that. I'm stuck here. And I never say no. I'm always a people pleaser when it comes to work. And so I ended up working insane hours. So this week, my check will go from my normal, 70, normally I put in 75, 80 hours a week. This week it'll be considerably more. I'll work every day but Saturday, Sunday. So yeah, it's overtime, but it is what it is. So anyways, this is going to be my last show before my 24-hour get out the vote Republican 24-hour 2,000 subscriber goal super extravaganza blowout championship best conservative Twitch debate sphere person in the world mega stream. I wanted it to be from home, but it's not. So, hey, you roll with the punches. So here we are. Tomorrow I'm taking off. Let's get through the bummer news first. Then we'll go through kind of what to expect on that stream. Talk about some other things here tonight. Here's the plan. I'm trying to put it. There are two reasons that I'm doing this 24-hour stream, right? One is to get Republicans elected. Not because I always agree with the Republicans, but because the Democratic Party at this point is the face of the establishment, and they are horrendous. They are destroying this country for average working people, even average people on the left as well. They might not be able to see it. They buy into the propaganda, but it's harming them as well. I'll talk more about that point later. And number two, as a thank you for reaching 2,000 subscribers. That is ode to the awesome people that have subscribed to me, that have donated to me, that have supported me. And so those are the two reasons that I've decided that I'm doing this Saturday stream. It's going to be 24 hours. If you remember the last big election, the 2020 election, the Monday before the election, I streamed 24 hours. I do things to try, not just on my channel, but to try to influence politics in the real world as well. Going to rallies, talking to conservative politicians, sort of giving my sense to them on where I think, people like me stand, to try to sort of persuade the way that they govern when they're elected. So I do things like that, but I also like to use this platform to influence change when I'm able to. And so that's what the stream will be about. But it's a lot of energy and effort to stream 24 hours. It's a lot. It'll actually, secret, don't tell anyone, it'll be 25 hours. Because we set our clock back Sunday morning. So the 24-hour stream will actually be 25 hours. Don't tell anyone. It'll be a secret. So the plan is, I'll stream tonight. Tomorrow I'm going to take off because I want to get a good night's sleep. Plus, I haven't seen my wife for a full week. So it'll be nice to spend some time with her. Saturday I'll stream. Sunday I'll sleep. Monday I will not stream. Most likely. Maybe I'll do a little. But most likely won't be. Tuesday I'm going to be streaming. I'm going to be on with my friend Let's Be Frank and sort of some bigger streamers on YouTube that are doing an election night special. So I'll be on with them. I'll let you know when the time. I think it's going to be 8 p.m. Eastern time on election night. And so you'll see me on with them. And then that's it for next week. Come hell or high water. I don't care if if a bunch of independents, the Constitutional Party somehow shocks the world and wins 50, every Senate race. You're not going to see me Wednesday. You're not. Republicans win, Democrats win. It's a wash. You're not going to see me Wednesday, Thursday, or Friday next week. And that's because I've decided to take some time with the family. I called off work. We're getting a hotel. We're going to take Hank to like a children's museum, aviary. We might go back to the zoo. We're going to meet some friends. So that's going to be my time with my family. I'm not mauling if Republicans lost. I'm not saying, great, my job's done if Republicans win. That's not what's happening. Whatever the outcome is. First off, to all of you, whatever the outcome is, life goes on. The most important things in life are your family, your loved ones, those close to you. That's most important. So you'll never see me get like super depressed because an election doesn't go. I mean, the worst election outcome ever for me was when I lost when I ran for Congress, and I was okay. I got over it pretty quickly. But you're not going to get a more impactful election than when you yourself lose. So I think Zeldin has a chance, absolutely. So that's just to give everyone an idea, and I'll probably re-go through that schedule as we go through the evening. But I do really appreciate each and every one of you. I do, and I'm not flippant when I'm saying like, I'll need a break after this. It's not like I need a break. Like I'm like, I put everything I ever had into it. That's not what I'm saying. It's just the way this week turned out with me actually working an extra like 70 hours, not being able to see my family for so long. Like, it sucks. It's not fair to my wife. I mean, put yourself in her position. You're married to the most glorious, fabulous, best-looking husband, probably at least in the past decade. And you don't get to see me for a full week, and then I come home, and there's obviously stuff I got to do around the house. We got a new washer and dryer, so we're going to try to hook that up tomorrow. Things of that nature. And then it's like, oh, by the way, I'm gone for another 24 hours upstairs in my office. So, it sucks for her. And the only reason I could do this, that I could stream, is because of my wife. Because she's such an awesome mother, and she supports me in doing this. That's the only reason I'm able to be able to stream. So, every little bit of success I have in this channel, I have my wife to thank for. And so I feel bad that this week went the way it did for her. It's not fair to her. that, and it's not easy. I could, people say, Rob, well, it takes a special person to work with people with disabilities and people with, autism. Yeah, but it's a harder job than that. Being a stay-at-home mom to a toddler by yourself. And she does that amazingly. She's a fantastic mom. But it's a lot of work, and it stresses you out. Man, can that guy throw a tantrum. And so, she deserves a break. And she's not getting it this week. So I'm looking forward to the 24-hour stream. I really am. I'm looking forward to voting Tuesday and talking about the elections Tuesday. And then I'm looking forward to spending a lot of time with my family the rest of that week. And then, man, we'll jump right back in Monday. We will. But I hope everyone's understanding. Anyways, enough about that sort of stuff, right? I was going to do a little video. I still might tonight. A little short-form video. Did y'all hear this story? Pat Harrigan, North Carolina. He is a state Senate candidate. He is a Republican. Now, he has his children staying with his parents. So the kids are staying with their grandparents, the candidate's parents, during the campaign. Someone shot at the grandparents' house. It shot out a window near where the children were sleeping. I guess Democratic rhetoric, right? Am I right? I look forward to Obama and Biden coming out, right? Oh my God, this Democratic rhetoric, right? That's what's going to happen, right? That's what's going to happen, right? It's this dangerous Democratic rhetoric. Vote Republican or you support shooting at the parents and children of Republicans. Correct? Right? That's the standard. Now you might say, but Rob, we don't know anything about the shooter. It may not have been politically motivated. It could have just been a crazy person. Or you might say, Rob, that's unfair. Why would you say that just because someone has disagreements, and maybe even they said this guy would be a really awful, horrible candidate, that doesn't mean they're responsible if some lunatic goes out there and shoots. And you'd be right. That is my standard. But as you know, my standard doesn't matter because I have no institutional authority. But you know who does? Joe Biden does. Barack Obama does. Chuck Schumer does. Pelosi does. Members of the mainstream media do. Democratic politicians do. And they're almost unanimous in condemning Republicans for the attack on Pelosi's husband. So, if that's the standard, okay. Now, I wonder, will there be 24-hour coverage by our mainstream media on this incitement to violence by Democrats? Will they call people that say, wait a minute, what are the facts of this story? Were there surveillance cameras? When was the 911 call? How do we have proof that this was a Democrat-inspired attack? Well, you're a conspiracy theorist if you ask those questions. You can't ask those questions. See, this is why Republicans are so stupid. This is how you know that they're losing control of the narrative. Because no one will push this. If I had a big show on Fox or Breitbart or OAN, I'd be talking about this 24/7. Oh my God, we're going to bring on another person. Here's someone running for, state. Here's someone running for school board that's a Republican. Do you and your family feel safe after the harsh words of Joe Biden? After his speech in front of those red lights saying you were the enemy and insurrectionist and extremist? Do you feel safe? No, my God, I don't feel safe. I feel terrible. I feel like my children could be shot at any moment. It's despicable. Who could vote for these Democrats and their rhetoric? I'd be doing it 24/7. That's right. That's what Jim Jordan or Marjorie Taylor Greene and Ted Cruz, they should all be holding press conferences right now. And every time a conservative's attacked. This was before the shooting. This is a letter written from the candidate named Pat Harrigan. This is the Republican. Again, this letter is written before, just today, or maybe it was yesterday, his parents' house was shot at, where his children resided. Let's see what he says. He says, this is him writing to the Democrat he's running against, whose name's Jeff Jackson. He says, Dear Jeff, I write to express my firm and sincere disappointment in you, this race, and what it has divulged into. One of the biggest reasons I ran for Congress in the new and open 14th District is you were the opponent. Although we have significantly different policy perspectives to lead this country forward in different directions, what I admired and respected that you campaigned honorably, positively, and honest and decent were your committed watchwords. I genuinely believed you felt the same calling I had, to show America how a decent, honest, and honorable campaign could be exemplified in a society that has replaced political discourse with discord. This is something we desperately need in America. But that honest and decent campaign is not what we have, and it's because of your actions. The week after I won the primary, you immediately handed out opposition research packet to the Charlotte Observer and asked them to write a demonstrably false hit piece on my character and my business, asserting that I profit from the deaths of children. Wow! Profits from the deaths of children. Well, that sounds like something that an extremist would take to heart and shoot at him. I guess Jeff Jackson's responsible, right? Shall I continue? That followed with negative ads on social media platforms to targeted audience for the duration of the summer. As you well know, if negative ads aren't fought with fire, they work. You left us no choice but to respond. And we did respond, but not with personal attacks. Instead, we attacked your record and held you accountable for what your words and actions have differed. Like teacher pay raises and crime prevention legislation. We also held you accountable for character flaws, like repeatedly sleeping during the session in the state Senate. Since October, you continue to pursue what you know to be a meritless complaint against my residency in Mecklenburg County for political spectacle. And you stood idly by while the Mecklenburg Democratic Party sent multiple mailers asserting patently false statements about my position on abortion. Geez, that sounds like it could take... lying about his position on abortion, that sounds like it could radicalize people. Oh boy! Right? Wow, Democrats, his opponent, talking about taking away choice from women. Sounds like it could radicalize them. On September 28th, you and your team shot a television ad outside of one of my homes in Hickory, North Carolina. Aside from the plainly false information in the ad, you crossed the red line. The ad went too far because targeting family domiciles crosses a line. Oh, isn't that convenient? The Democrats showed where one of his homes were. And then one of his homes got shot at. Remember, this letter was written before the shooting, where his parents and children resided. Shall I continue? Family has stretched this thin on campaigns, and you violated my family's security. I've already received a credible threat, a death threat. I wear a low-profile bulletproof vest to every single major public event. As I travel, wherever my family is located, they are significantly less safe with me in this race. And they're even less safe now that you've shown one of my homes to the world. And unlike my ad about inflation and the endless government spending that you have flagrantly mischaracterized by falsely asserting I've called you a sponsor of domestic terrorism, I would never do that to another veteran. This ad of yours was shot and executed at your donor's expense solely for the personal enjoyment. I know this because I know psychological operators. Remember, in Special Forces, it's my job to employ you. There are many questions that I have about you, your taxes, former home, current home, and your personal life. But I'm never going to film an ad in front of your home, violating the sanctity and security of your family, putting their lives at risk. It just doesn't seem like an honest and decent thing to do. Quite frankly, it would be so dishonest and indecent that the thought has never crossed my mind. I'm sorry it crossed yours. I challenge you to debate at your earliest convenience so we can talk about the economy, inflation, crime, education, abortion, gun control, energy policy, national security, immigration, whatever else you would like to talk about, with the honor and decency befitting the office that one of us is about to hold. Regards, Pat Harrigan. So there you have it. Even before this candidate, Republican candidate's parents' home was shot at, with his children in it, even before he was calling out his Democratic opponent for extremist rhetoric and filming in front of one of his homes. He was talking about how he has to wear a bulletproof vest because of death threats he's received, and now his family was no longer safe because of the rhetoric of his opponent and Democrats. And now his parents' home has been shot at where his children were. His exact fear came through, that his family wasn't safe. This is it, open and shut case. Democrats incited this violence, period, proof positive. End of story. National media right now. If you vote for Democrats, you're voting for Republican candidates' children being shot at. That's what you're voting for. That's it. Their rhetoric has led to this. Not my standard. That's not the Rob Noerr standard. I already went through my standard and said, well, it would be absurd to blame people just because they disagree, or even if they said harsh things about Pat Harrigan for some nut shooting at his family. Certainly filming the location of one of his homes might increases the chances of that, but, you know. But it's not my standard that matters. I've listened to the Democrat standard. I heard Joe Biden's speech last night. Dangerous extremism. Republicans are dangerous extremists. Voting for them is, oh my God, it's so dangerous because Paul Pelosi got attacked. And clearly it's Republicans' rhetoric fault. And as I said, every time before, like with the shooting of Steve Scalise, the attack of Rand Paul, the attack of Lee Zeldin, and on and on and on and on and on, when Republicans are attacked, Democrats never say, oh my goodness, our rhetoric caused this. But when the shoe's on the other foot and we have the Charlottesville attack or we have Paul Pelosi being attacked, all of a sudden it's, we blame Republicans for their rhetoric. They caused this. And Republicans are dumb enough to play the game. They're like, no, that's not true. And wait a minute, what really happened with Paul Pelosi? Which all it does is keep the conversation in the spotlight where it's like, oh, it's only an off. Republicans can only play defense on this. No, we didn't cause that. So it's not my standard that matters. According to Barack Obama's standard, Joe Biden's standard, the Democrat standard, the mainstream media standard, but I repeat myself, Democrats are responsible for this candidate's children and parents being shot at. Period, end of story. They incited it, and to question it makes you a dangerous conspiracy theorist. End of story. That's it. Pretty simple. So, I'm going to do a short form video on that. I just thought that was an interesting story I saw about 10 minutes before I came on. And I haven't seen a lot of coverage of it. Surprise, surprise. So remember, if you're in a discussion and someone brings up, oh, Republicans responsible for Paul Pelosi, you just throw it right back in their face. As terrible as it was that Nancy Pelosi's husband was attacked, and it's absolutely terrible. If we blame Republicans for that, then we certainly blame Democrats for the attempted murder of a Republican candidate's parents and children. Not with a hammer, with a gun. But that's different. It's different when we do it. No political violence against Republicans. Sure. Alright, now that I got that off my chest, let's talk about the big 2,000 subscriber, November 5th, extravaganza, normal America blowout, get out the vote for Republicans, super mega stream. Goku's here. It's the Kamehameha of politics streams. This show is going to be fantastic. This is a show, this will be the second time I've done a show like this, where I feel bad because some of the guests I have aren't going to get the viewership that they deserve. Now I'm going to talk about some of the guests and the topics we're going to talk about. And I'm excited for each and every one of these guests. But I'm going to bury the lead, because you'll want to stick around for who my last guest might be. I think it's someone that you and most of the world will be interested in. First off, how did this show come together? So I already explained I'm doing this show because my 2,000 subscriber goal was met, and I want to get Republicans to get out there and win. What is this show not? Okay, so let me explain exactly what happened. Originally, my idea was, because I was so busy this week, I was going to prove to people that I was capable of doing a 24-hour show by myself. And by myself, I mean by myself. If someone wanted to call in, so be it. but basically it would be me. And I'm able to talk for 24 hours on different subjects and keep it smooth, entertaining, on-flowing, with the exception of bathroom breaks and maybe getting a bite to eat. Right? So I'm doing my show Monday, and I mentioned that here Monday while I'm doing my show, and my friend Aftershock reaches out to me and says, do you want guests? And I said, yeah, I wouldn't mind guests, but I don't have the time to do the producing thing because I'm at work. I don't have time to reach out to people and put in the effort and create time slots and stuff. And Aftershock was like, I'll take care of it. So Aftershock, as great as a dude as he is, reached out to Andrew Wilson, BPF, from The Crucible and from comfy.stream. And they started to put together some guests. Most of the guests they were putting together were people from the streaming world. So, people that you'd see, and we'll talk exactly who the guests are, people that you see with other Twitch shows, with other Comfy shows, etc. Then, on Wednesday, my friend Carlos reached out to me. Carlos, as if for those that follow the show, my Normaniacs. That's my new term for people that follow me. Listen here, brother. All the little Normaniacs out there, they're getting pumped for November 5th and the Saturday countdown. And I'll tell you what, dude, we're going to see a red wave like you can't believe. And all my little Normaniacs out there know, all you got to do is challenge your government, never believe authority, take your vitamins and go vote. The 4 Demandments. You know, the Normaniacs, yeah. How do I feel about Russia? I like hockey. I'm not a big Russia fan. I think that we have no business in the Ukraine-Russia conflict. I think both sides suck. Time to play World of Warcraft Classic? I've never even played it. So, my friend Carlos, who you will know if you're a Normaniac, if you followed the show, I used to have a radio show with Carlos, who's a political consultant and media expert, and Todd Bartley, who is a journalist. We used to have a radio show out of Williamsport. And so Carlos, the connections that Carlos could get are very different. Carlos can get connections to politicians and people that run campaigns and people that are in the Republican Party and people that are running polling stations. And so he started to get me guests. And so now I have a very cool mix of people from the streaming world and people from sort of the political world. And so some of the guests I've lined up, and there were 1 or 2 that I reached out myself and got lined up. So, yeah, now Galil. Lift's leaving. See you, man. Thanks for stopping in. My eyesight sucks. IRL freeze. Thanks, man. Am I going to stream on YouTube too? Yeah. It'll be simulcast to Twitch, YouTube, Comfy, DLive, and Twitter. So those 5 platforms. So yeah, the guest list that I have, I'm impressed with. So I'm gonna read you some of the guests. Right now, I'm sorry. So what is the goal for the show? Right. So some of the people that Aftershock was getting and BPF were getting, like streamers, I talk about whatever I want to. My theme is getting Republicans elected. And you might say, well, Rob, let me rephrase that. If you're a garbage lefty, you might say, by the way, I'm just picking on you. I don't mind all lefties. I have a lot of friends that are lefties. Some people watch this show are lefties, so. But let's make fun of them anyways. They might say, oh, Rob, you're a Republican hack. Of course you're going to push for them. Blah, blah, blah. You never insult Republicans. You never criticize them. Not true. Do it all the time, even the ones that I like. The point of this show is to get Republicans elected. After Republicans are elected, the point will be to hold their feet to the fire. But that's not what Saturday's about. And that's not what Tuesday's about. For example, I'm not the biggest Dr. Oz fan. I met Dr. Oz in person and told him I'm not the biggest Dr. Oz fan. But all that shit goes to the side when it's him or Fetterman. It's him. Do I think he'll be a great senator? Probably not. Do I think that I'll be doing shows complaining about things that he's pushed for and stuff? Probably. But he's better than Fetterman. I'm not a journalist. Of course, we have almost no journalists anyways. But I'm not held by ethical standards of, well, I gotta hold people's feet to the fire. No. I am an unabashed cheerleader because the Democratic Party right now is the face of the establishment that is so corrupt and so disgusting and so damaging to this country that they need to be rejected in mass. I fought hard for the people I wanted in the primary. Now I'm fighting hard to get Republicans elected Tuesday. What that means is, when I have streamers that come on, Dylan Burns is going to come on. That's one of the guests. He wants to talk about the Biden presidency. I don't mind bringing Dylan on for two reasons. Dylan, whatever you all think of him, I still kind of like Dylan. I know that a lot of you hate that I do. I find Dylan to be a likable person. And he's in the top 30% of people I talk to that I disagree with that at least have a brain. At least they're not going to come on just being like, you're a rapist, you're a Nazi, I put drugs up my rectum, like people I've been debating lately. So at least I can have a conversation with him, and the same is true of Pisco. I feel the same way about both of them. So I don't mind a little getting heated, because I'm confident in my ability to continue to push Republicans, even when talking to left. I don't need to rely on censorship. I like debates. I like them. So that's fine. Then so Dylan Burns and Pisco, and I'll go through the actual schedule here in the Times, right? But then I'm going to have people like Counterpoints. Now, Counterpoints is sort of a center right-winger. I think we're going to argue. He's going to argue that we should have more traditional Republicans as opposed to, like, Make America Great Republicans. But that's okay. Then I'm going to have people like Andrew Wilson and his wife Rachel Wilson. They'll both be on, right? Those are people that I don't have to worry about, like, getting as guest. I can say whatever I want to all of them. And I include Pisco and Dylan in that. I don't have to worry about, oh my God, I'm going to, they'll be upset because of the things I said. That's not a concern of mine. But what about politicians? So say you're from Doug Mastriano's campaign, and robnoerr, or someone I know like Carlos Saldivia calls you and says, Doug, robnoerr, you did his radio show 3 or 4 times. You did his 24-hour stream before the 2020 election. Would you like to go on his show? Doug Mastriano's not going to remember me. He's probably done hundreds, if not thousands, of media interviews. I'm some guy that has 80 people watching on a good night. So he's not going to remember. Now, he's probably in one of the 3 most important races in the country. Governorship of Pennsylvania. To me, as a Pennsylvanian, it's arguably more important than the Senate race here in PA. Because we could arguably lose the Senate race and still end up with a Republican majority. But if we lose the executive branch of the state of Pennsylvania, the governorship, that's going to be hard for this state. So as a Pennsylvanian, that's arguably more important. And if you question it, look at the positive things that DeSantis has done as governor in Florida. That's what Mastriano could be here in Pennsylvania. Or we could have Josh Shapiro. Shapiro has his eyes set on the presidency in the future. He's the Attorney General right now of the Wolf administration. That means lockdowns. That means crime. That means inflation, economic devastation. War on energy and fossil fuels. So as a Pennsylvanian, that race matters to me. So imagine now, you're Doug Mastriano. You're kind of a big deal now. This is as high as his stock's ever been. Running for governorship in one of the most important states, one of the most important elections in this midterm. Are you going to take the chance on going some streamer's show, not knowing what they're going to say to you? 2 days before an election? Thanks for the follow, Scotty. Right? How do you know I'm not some insane groiper or something? How do you know? You don't want to come on some stream and have all of a sudden, I'm throwing out a bunch of slurs or something. What's up, Aftershock? So it's difficult to convince people like that are in these races and running that don't know me that well. No, that's not what I'm about. It's different. Thank you so much, Muff Cheese. Great name. Right. What if you're Doug Mastriano and you come on and someone named Muff Cheese gives me $1 cheer while you're on, and then they're like, Muff Cheese supports Mastriano. It could be bad, right? I'm just kidding. What if you're Dr. Oz and you're like, well, we checked out Rob's stream and we've heard Rob complain about Dr. Oz. We don't want to come on and do the show right before the election. Potentially give sound bites to our opponents. So what I'm saying is, I'm not going to give any of these politicians a hard time. I'll give them hard times after the election. I'll give them hard times during the primary. But I'm not going to give them a hard time 2 days before the election, where it is imperative that we reject the corrupt Democrats. Not because they're Democrats, but because they are the face of the establishment. And they have proven as a party how they are totally corrupt and terrible for this country. Doesn't mean Republicans are perfect or great or anything of that nature. But 2 days for the election, that's not what I'm doing. If I get Dr. Oz on, I'm not going to tear him apart. I'm going to say, Oz, let me talk to you about the positions that I think you are strongest, and so that you could make your point to my audience why you deserve their vote and why your opponent, John Fetterman, is so terrible. And I'll give my opinions as to that. That's it. You're new to the Twitch world, Scott. Well, thank you for being here. Former state senator. That's awesome. One of the things that I want to do with my channel is I want to bring the old not just conservative, but sort of the old media type people and old political type people in with the new sort of platforms of streaming. And when I say old, I don't mean age. I mean people that listen to talk radio. People that are actually in politics, that are state senators, that are Congress people. Because this is the future and where races can be won and lost. And so I'm trying to combine those two. That's what I was trying to do when I had a radio show that I was also simultaneously streaming. Now, I don't have the biggest audience, and a lot of that's on me. But I'm getting better. So that's the point. That's one of the things I'm doing. I'd love to talk to you sometime, Scott. I think this is especially true when we want sort of populist candidates. If you can effectively use the internet and these platforms, it's a huge leveling ground to people that might have much more audience than you, or much more money than you. That's alright. I streamed for 2 years with an audience of 4 or 5. Absolutely did. You go back and check go look at my YouTube channel. I put video the other day. I was doing, when was it? I did stream yesterday. I was showing videos that I was talking about COVID in March, April, May of 2020. Accurately predicting almost everything we've seen. 60 people viewed it. So anyways, it's difficult to reach out. I understand if I'm running for office, am I taking a chance on going on a relatively unknown person's channel to have them interview me 2 days before an election? Not to mention they're very busy. I mean, are you going to go on robnoerr's show or Tucker Carlson's show? So I get it. No hard feelings for the Oz campaign, the Mastriano campaign. I get that. So it's a fine line. I'm not selling out. I'm not giving away my integrity. I will continue to criticize people from any party when they deserve it. But 2 days before the election, you're damn right, I'm cheerleading for the Republicans. That's it. So if you're listening and you're from one of those campaigns or any other person that's running and you're concerned, I'm telling you, I'm being as transparent as I can about this whole thing. So given that, I wanted to talk about this healthy mix I have of the people that Aftershock and BPF have been able to get me as guests on the show, and the people that Carlos has been able to get me in guests on the show, and one or two people that I've been able to get. And I think it's a good mix of people from sort of traditional media, from the political landscape, and from the streaming landscape. I think it's going to be a very entertaining show. And like I said, my only cause for concern is that some of these guests are so great. I just hope that we have a decent audience. You know, it would be a shame if I'm interviewing a sitting congressman who's running an incumbent and there's only 10 people watching. So I'm going to do my best to try to promote this. I think other people are going to try to promote, and we'll see what we can do. But as always, the people around me are so great that they ended up getting me better guests than I deserve. So first, let's go through the list of the people that Aftershock, they put together this stream list for me. I'll show you this. Wait. Do I want to show you this? Yeah. So there's the stream list. And then I got other people aside from this. So let's go through the list. I'm going to skip over some chronologically. So I'll begin at 7 a.m. The original idea was that I would stream 7 a.m. to 10 a.m. would just be me. I'm going to be talking about the election. I did not get Hassan, unfortunately. So first, from right out of the gate, starting hot. 10 a.m. to 11:30 a.m., an hour and a half, LectureFan. Now, LectureFan and me were doing a series. We got up to like 6 shows, which were the pre-midterm election stream. It'll be interesting to go back after. We started this like 9 months out of the election, and we're talking about issues and things of that nature that we thought would decide and our predictions for how the midterms would go. It'll be interesting to go back and look at those shows with LectureFan afterwards and see how close we were, how right we were about the issues and things like that. I think it'll be very interesting. So this will be LectureFan and I's final show before the midterm, which starts off fantastically. I think LectureFan is a fantastic streamer. I think he's a great guy. He occasionally does a radio show out of Montana. He is a fantastic radio host. And make no mistake, it takes something different to be a radio host who's interviewing people, who has guests on. Radio is a different skill set than just being your own streamer. I think LectureFan is tremendous. He is a fantastic conservative. He is a lawyer. I really enjoy listening to him. I think he's an all-around good guy, too. I really do. And LectureFan, like me, and other people like Aftershock, we really, jump in with both feet into the fire, where we did a lot of these panels. We went on a lot of places where we were called Nazis and horrible and racist and this and that. We didn't give a shit. And I thought that a lot of conservatives wilted under that. They either became centrist or they, buddy system. Oh, I agree with the lefties. And I don't think LectureFan did that. And that's something that I'm proud to say that I didn't do. So I really think, I would guess that most of my audience here knows LectureFan, but if not, I think that's someone really interesting. They ended up becoming, not my words. Next, at noon to 1:30, we got James from Modern Day Debates. Now, Modern Day Debates, if you're unaware of what Modern Day Debates is, it's a debate platform that got considerably big. It usually runs on YouTube. I've done probably 5 or 6 Modern Day Debates. James moderated probably half of those. And interesting guy. I respect anyone who tries to use their platform to encourage discussion. I've never got a chance to talk to James one-on-one. It's always been in the capacity of, he's the moderator and I'm the debater. And so it'll be interesting to be able to talk to him one-on-one. The topics that he wants to talk about: OnlyFans consumers, soy boys, and declining masculinity. And I think he's going to agree with me on a lot of that. The problems with sort of these type of guys that are simps on OnlyFans, masculinity declining. So I think that that'll be fantastic. What is this? Who gave my information to Fetterman's campaign? But they send me like 10 emails a day. Great. At 2 to 3:30 will be Jim Bob. I'm sorry, 2 to 3 will be Jim Bob. Now, Jim Bob, I have to admit, I haven't interacted with at all, but I know he's a good friend of the Crucible. I do believe conservative as well. So I think it'll be interesting. Jim Bob is someone that BPF got to come on the show. He's got sort of a bigger following than me. I think it'll be really cool to talk. I know I've seen some of his debates. I believe he was debating against veganism tonight. So I think that'll be a great conversation too, and that's a great get. One of the things I'm trying to do when I'm pushing people to comfy.stream, and I just want to forewarn people, I will be pushing people a lot through this 24-hour stream to comfy.stream. I absolutely will. I want to work because, one, I think that we should support free speech platforms. And second, Andrew put a lot of work and time into it, and he's been a very good friend of mine and very much helped me with my channel. And so one of the things he's doing is he's making connections with people like Jim Bob, with other bigger streamers, and he wants to connect a group of people in order to have better content, so we're not left at the whims of, like, we got to go on some 14-person panel and hear from people, you know, talking the insane shit that you hear from these panels. Foxy, I have no connections to Destiny whatsoever. He runs for me like I have the plague. So if you're asking for me to get you some sort of connection to Destiny, try again. At 3 to 4. Now, listen, these times are loose. This isn't set in stone right now. I don't know that everyone will stay the full time. And we might add more guests, so we might cut time back on some people. At 3 to 4. This is an incredible guest. Carla Sands. I've met Carla Sands in person. Carla Sands ran for Senate against Dr. Oz. So everyone remembers, at the end, you had Dr. Oz, Jeff Bartos, right, I believe was the second. Oh no, not Bartos. Goodness gracious, why am I forgetting his name? Give me a second. I gotta look up the guy. It wasn't Bartos, it's give me a second. McCormick. So McCormick was considered sort of the traditional establishment conservative. Oz was, I guess, somewhere in between. And the other candidate that people talked about was the third in the race, was a woman by the name of Kathy Barnett. And Kathy Barnett was, she did my show. She was like an America First, a MAGA type person. I thought she was a really interesting candidate. Carla Sands had a lot of that, except maybe she was more polished. Carla Sands not only ran for Senate, she was the ambassador to Denmark, the Falkland Islands, and I think Greenland, under Donald Trump. She stuck through Trump thick and thin. A very impressive lady. Would I interview campaign workers or lobbyists? Sure, I would. Get a comfy command? I will try to set that up. I will. I don't know if Aftershock's still in here. Anyone who knows how to do that, set it up. Yeah. So it'll be very interesting to talk to Carla. I mean, they want a command for comfy.stream. I don't know how to do those commands. Everyone set that up for me. So it'll be very interesting to hear from Carla. I mean, again, little old me will be talking to a woman that 3 years ago was an ambassador for Donald Trump, who ran for Senate. I mean, that's a big get to be able to talk to someone like that. So, very impressed. From 4 to 5:30, Primetime 99 Alex Stein. Now, for those of you who don't know, Alex Stein is one of the best conservative trolls going. He has made fools of Dan Crenshaw, of Dave Portnoy, of AOC, of Adam Kissinger, of countless town committee meetings. He's hilarious. He has the right idea. Now, mine and his style of humor don't exactly match up. I do like what he's doing a lot. Sometimes it's not what I would do. I'm not saying I endorse everything he's ever done. But he has the right idea. Make fun of these people. Make fun of them. And so, I am very excited to have Alex Stein on. I can't wait to talk to him, to joke around with him, to talk about the importance of the election, to talk about how some of the things, including getting spit on the other day at Penn State. That's right, Primetime 99 has come a long way since he was my debate partner on Modern Day Debates, believe it or not, on puberty blockers. And that seems like forever ago. So I've known Alex for a long time. Looking forward to it. I think he'll be a fantastic guest. From 6 to 7:30, Dylan Burns. Now, Dylan will be the first person that I have on that's a Democrat. He's not going to be... So, up until... I would gather that everyone we're talking about, maybe not James, I'm not sure, but everyone before that I'm talking to, we're going to be talking in part about the importance of getting out there and voting for Republicans. Dylan and me, it'll be different. We're going to talk about the Biden administration, and what I will do is I will convince you to talk to Republicans based on how bad I crush Dylan on how poorly the Biden administration's doing. And if Dylan or any one of his supporters are watching, I'll give away the game right now of what I'm going to talk about. I'm going to talk about the economy. I'm going to talk about illegal immigration. I'm going to talk about crime. I'm going to talk about lockdowns and COVID. And I'm going to talk about the indoctrination of our children. There you go, Dylan. There's the 5 topics. You can bring up whatever else you want about the Biden administration. But those are the losses. And we'll talk about corruption as well through the Biden administration. You wish you could read the list. Is it not big enough? Well, I'll be. How's this? Boom! I could do that. Let's make it bigger. There you go. Ask and ye shall receive. Let's go back up to the top here. All times Eastern, by the way. So that'll be from 6 to 7:30. Again, this is not written in stone. Yeah, Fabian and me, we could talk about whatever. That's no problem. Yeah. So, that's Dylan Burns. From 8 to 9:30, Rachel Wilson. If you watch The Crucible, you know who Rachel Wilson is. Rachel is BPF or Andrew Wilson's wife. Rachel has been on Tucker Carlson's show talking about the importance of homeschooling. She has written a book that talks about the indoctrination of feminism and how bad it's been for women and families in this country. She is an incredibly impressive lady. Rachel allowed me to do the first interview of her after she was on Tucker Carlson. So I'm very excited. Every time I've talked to her, I've been impressed. I think she's a very impressive lady. She's a great debater. And I look forward to talking to her in a primetime slot of 8 to 9:30. I think it'll be fantastic. Next, we have from 10 to 11:30. And again, times are not set in stone. I don't know if everyone will go an hour and a half. We'll see what's up. And we might be adding more guests. Counterpoints. Counterpoints is what I would call, I don't know what he would call himself. I would say he's sort of a centrist Republican. The topic he wants to discuss is Trump's America First movement the way for Republicans? I'm assuming he'll say no. I'll say yes. I debated Counterpoints on The Crucible about corruption within our systems. I thought I did very well. this will probably be a similar topic to that, though we might focus less on corruption and more just on some of the issues that separates America First from other Republicans, such as donating money to Ukraine, a blank check, or immigration policies, things of that nature. But I like Connor, and I think I always screw up. I don't know what to call him. Counterpoints or Connorpoints. I know he's gone by both. But I like him. Also, we'll talk a little about when he won the Odyssey games and got $10,000 and see if he ever got paid for that. But yeah, he's an interesting guy. Very smart guy. Someone that I think's a good debater. I've argued against Counterpoints on issues. Me and him were debate partners when it came to arguing against anarcho-capitalism at one point. So, yeah, it's definitely, there's some overlap and there's some disagreements on what me and Counterpoints think. So I think it'll be a great conversation. I always enjoy talking to him. From midnight to 1:30 is Andrew Wilson, or BPF. He wants to talk about Groyper memes. It'll be a hilarious hour and a half. When it comes to the Groypers, I kind of feel bad for them. I think it's a bunch of misguided kids that are basically in a cult. That's what I think. I don't really like getting involved in the drama all that much. I don't blame people that do get involved in the drama. That's fine. Andrew likes getting involved and poking the bear with the Groypers. Not really my thing. But I enjoy talking and listening to Andrew talk about it. And talking with him about it. So, yeah, it'll be great. He'll be on there eviscerating sort of some of these memes he has with Groypers. A lot of it will be news to me. So I think it'll be refreshing after probably a heavy debate with Counterpoints to talk to Andrew about that. From 2 a.m. to 3:30 is Pisco. For those that don't know, Pisco is a lawyer. He's a left-winger. I think that he is a hack and hypocrite. As you can see, the topic is hypocrisy and hackery. Pisco will defend anything the establishment says, as long as it's benefiting his side. So he's okay with the obvious FBI corruption. He'll say, no. He's okay with, he doesn't speak up about illegal immigration unless it's an attack that could be used against Republicans, etc., etc. Do I think Pisco's the worst guy in the world? No. I like talking to Pisco. I know I get heated with him, but that's how I talk. I wouldn't do it if I thought he couldn't handle it. And I feel the same with Dylan Burns. If I felt that it would be emotionally destructive to him, I would say, okay, sorry, I just don't want to talk to you. So, yeah, he's definitely probably the most partisan person I debate regularly. So, but I think that, again, I would take a partisan person that could put a coherent thought together versus these lunatics that I've been debating on the left that are just insane people. From 4 a.m. to 5:30, Fabian Liberty, general conversation, current events. Aftershock said he also wants to talk about should conservatives consider voting libertarian instead of Republican. I think it'll be a great topic. Fabian, very smart guy, probably the biggest libertarian on Twitch. What I like about the libertarian movement is I too value freedom, personal responsibility is sort of my default ideology that I'm looking. I think the United States, the founding documents were the greatest in the history of the world because it focused on the individual. And I think that we should be very, very, very reticent to allow the government to take away our liberty. But I do believe a government should exist. Fabian doesn't. And I just think that it's not practical. I think that we need to come up with policies that sort of defend that principle of liberty, but also aren't doing so in a way that is only feasible on paper and wouldn't work in practice. Or to try to work it in practice would open up to the most corrupt institutions. Yeah, Noble Savage, I'm glad you like him. Yeah, he's a good guy. He is a smart dude. So, so that's where me and Fabian... And it's funny because I think Fabian is a very similar guy to me, that he finds disagreement more interesting than agreement. So most of the time when Fabian and I interact, it'll seem like, oh, these guys are going at it. Not always. We did a big special where he talked about a presentation he had put together about Andrew McCarthy, which I found to be very interesting. I don't consider myself a great student of history, so it was interesting to hear that presentation. But yeah, that should be an interesting topic. That'll take us to 5:30, and then that final hour, the final push, 5:30 to 7 a.m. will be me. But wait! I'm burying the lead. There's more. As tremendous as all of those guests are, and they are, tremendous guest list. And I have to thank BPF and Aftershock from getting that list together. That's not all. Other guests that we have lined up. Now, there are people that I have feelers out for that I haven't heard back. I won't mention their names, but I have a shot at getting some of these people. First, I have received confirmation about 15 minutes before I came on that the person I consider to be the best reporter on COVID in the country is going to be coming on my stream. And he's a man by the name of Phil Kerpen. Kerpen, you can check out his Twitter. So let me bring it up for you. He, not only are his thoughts on what's going on with COVID tremendous, but the data that he presents is absolutely fantastic. So you can see there, it's at Kerpen, Kerpen. He's doing a lot of political stuff now, but so much of his stuff was been placing the weekly data on hospitalizations, on clinical trials, things of that nature. He is amazing. He is absolutely amazing. Now, Kerpen has done my show twice before. I have a slight connection to Phil Kerpen, which he won't even remember. Kerpen was a debater and was a debate coach in policy debate. And one of the things you do as a former debate coach is they need judges. And so schools will hire you to be a judge. And so Kerpen in his free time, because he was a very good debater, would judge. And my university, where I debated, Clarion University, our coach knew Kerpen from time at Pitt University, I believe. And so we would hire Kerpen as a judge. And sometimes, 2 or 3 rounds, he actually coached me. He is, like, I'm a good debater. I'm a reasonably smart guy. Phil Kerpen's a genius. Like, legitimately a genius. Like, I do believe I heard that he got a perfect SAT score. He is such an interesting character, and he's one of these people that was an outlier in the debate community, that wasn't just some super progressive left-wing shill. And so I always knew of him, and then when I saw his awesome takes on Twitter, particularly regarding COVID, I reached out to him, and he generously agreed to do my show. And so I have not got a time confirmation for Phil Kerpen yet, but his manager, I emailed, reached back out to me and said, definitely we'll make sure Kerpen's got a little bit of time for you Saturday. We'll make sure that we get a time for you. So some point during the day, we're going to have Phil Kerpen on. We're going to talk about COVID and the Democratic response and why we need to vote Republican. So I think that's huge. I think Kerpen's one of those guys that his takes on Twitter, like, let's see, he has followers-wise he has 100,000 followers on Twitter. But he's one of those guys. Did you ever hear, like, I love comedy. Did you ever hear them talk about, like, a comedian, right? So there are comedians out there that never got huge with the mainstream audience, but other comedians love them. To me, that's sort of what Kerpen is. You see all of these big accounts retweeting Kerpen all the time when he's putting forth data and studies on COVID. So he might not be the face you see like Tucker Carlson or something like that, but so much of what those big people are putting out is them retweeting or repackaging what Kerpen's putting out there. So, I'm very excited to talk to him. I think it'll be tremendous. And if you're like, wow, Rob's got a pretty impressive memory for sort of like statistics or names of things, you'll be blown away by Phil Kerpen. You will be very impressed. And he's in New York, too, so he was breaking a lot of the stuff on Cuomo, nursing home deaths, the vaccine mandates, and he was against all of that from the get-go. One of the few that were right from the get-go. So I couldn't be more excited. I think that is a great take. Again, I love Andrew Wilson. I love hey, Khalil, I love LectureFan. LectureFan and Andrew would come on and talk to me with no audience. Right? Thanks. I really appreciate it, Khalil. Thanks for the cheer. They would. But when you get someone like Phil that could easily be on a litany of other shows that's going to agree to come on my show, I hope that we have an audience that he deserves. I really do. So I'm going to be pushing. I'm going to be promoting. But the next guest that I have, Perry County Republican Chairman Don McClure. Now, if you're a Normaniac, you may have seen Don McClure on my show. He's probably done it 8 to 12 times. When I used to have the radio show, we did a big special. Me, Carla Saldivia, Todd Bartley, the three that used to have the radio show. We did a special with Joe Stearns, who's a business owner in Williamsport, who's a great Republican, and Don McClure, who, again, is Perry County Republican Chairman. Don, to me, is the yin to my yang, right? Don is a great guy. He has a brilliant political mind. He understands the inner workings of politics. I'm sort of a F you, I say what I believe, populist. Don's sort of a you have to work within the system to affect change Republican. We butt heads on issues. But I respect him, and I know he's a good guy. And the truth is, both my perspective and his perspective are necessary to win elections and then to govern in a way that cares about the constituents of this country. Both perspectives are needed. It would be easy to just be me that's sort of the F this system, I don't care, the establishment Republicans suck, get rid of all of them, put in great new people. Yeah, Scott, thank you so much for the kind words, but listen, it's not just about learning. You'll find that, I'll learn just as much from you as you would from me, but I do thank you for the kind words, and take care. Yeah. So Don is a fantastic guest. Don was on with me before the 2020 election. It was the insight that he had, the on-the-ground insight of, this is what's happening in Perry County. This is what's happening in Dauphin County. This is what's happening in Allegheny County. That sort of on the ground, you're not going to get that anywhere else. So you're going to get an insight into Pennsylvania talking to Don McClure like you won't hear almost anywhere. Now, it gets even more exciting because Don will not be at home. So the same day, and this is a bad thing, but it's way a good thing. It's way more of a good thing than a bad thing. One of the reasons that I'm having trouble getting guests from the political world here in Pennsylvania on Saturday, November 5th, is because there is a massive Trump rally going on in Latrobe, Pennsylvania on November 5th. And so many of the Republicans that I know are going to be at that rally. Latrobe's outside of Pittsburgh. Trump's doing a final push to get Mastriano, to get Dr. Oz over the finish line. I think it's great. And Trump will bring a huge crowd. Guaranteed. It'll be an awesome event. Don McClure has backstage passes to that event. And he is going to be updating us routinely throughout the day, hopefully, on what he's seeing, what the mood is, who he's talking to, what the candidates are saying, what Trump's saying. That's the plan. So instead of an hour and a half block with Don, he might call in 15, 20-minute chunks and let me know what's going on and let the audience know what's going on. That is fantastic. In addition, at 9 a.m. Eastern, I will be talking to sitting Republican Congress member and the most senior Republican in Pennsylvania. I'm not talking state house, I mean federal. Congressman Glenn G.T. Thompson, who happens to be my congressman. He will be calling in to give me 20 or 30 minutes. Glenn called in to my 2020 show, the 24-hour show in 2020, right before the election. Yeah, well, I got this lineup because I got great people around me. And I know people think that all I do is work and do politics on the computer. I don't. I go out there. I try to do grassroots stuff. I try to go to events. I try to meet my Congress people. I try to meet people in the Republican Party. So, GT's going to be calling in. Now, I'll be straight up with you. There are things that I disagree with GT on. There's not going to be a crossword between me and him, though. We're on that same side entirely. Get Republicans to win this election. Period. End of story. So I'm excited to have GT call in. GT will then be leaving and will be going to the Trump rally. Now I have other guests. Oh, I'll be pushing back on Dylan and Pisco, don't get me wrong. The political guest, basically there's 3 types of guests. There are the streamer type guests that will be talking about whatever, and we're going to be like, yeah, and Republicans need to win. Get out and vote. Then there are the streamer type guests that I'm going to have disagreements with, like Pisco and Dylan. And we'll just disagree. They're not going to say, yeah, go vote Republican. And then there are the political guests that we're going to solely be talking about, you need to go vote Republican, and here's why. So there are other messages that I have out to people I haven't heard from. Some big national names. I'll spare you. I'm not going to use their names for clout. But if they respond to me, there have been other bigger national people that I've had on in the past. Maybe they'll get back to me. Maybe they'll be on the show. But the lead berry. Now, I want to preface this by saying there is a less than 1% chance that this happens. But it's still a chance. Glenn Thompson, as the most senior Republican in Pennsylvania, will be basically backstage as one of 3 or 4 people that'll be most influential talking to Donald Trump. And I'm going to see, there is an outside chance, if we can have Trump call in for 2 or 3 minutes before or after his event in Latrobe. I will be personally talking all day to people that are backstage with Donald Trump. And there is a chance that I could get Donald Trump to call in. Now, don't get too excited. The chances are very slim. It is. And in 2020, I had a similar chance where people around Glenn Thompson was like, yeah, he's going to be on Air Force One. He'll be talking to Trump. We'll see. Trump got very busy. That was a little different, though, because understand, that was the day before the election. And that was, right, Donald Trump was a little busy that day. So, I'm not quoting you that Donald Trump's coming in. And don't get pissed if you're like, Rob baited us in. I am sort of baiting you. But chances are it won't happen. But there's a chance. I still have feelers out to try to talk to Doug Mastriano. I'm still trying to reach out to someone from Dr. Oz's campaign. Though I probably have a better shot of talking to Trump than I do of Dr. Oz. And it'd be close with Mastriano as well. And it's not because Dr. Oz is big-timing me. It's because Dr. Oz and Mastriano, they don't really know who I am. Mastriano maybe a little. Dr. Oz doesn't. And they're going to be incredibly busy. I mean, they're going to be... Unlike Fetterman, who will just be in a basement somewhere, Oz is presumably going to be campaigning until the last minute. Try to get Fetterman on the show? I'd love to. I'd love to talk to John Fetterman. I did tell Oz I didn't like it. Let me be honest, though. Dr. Oz's response, and I said it tactfully, right? What I told Dr. Oz was, I met him in person at a rally in May, and what I told him was, I didn't really care for you. I voted against you in the primary, and I'm skeptical that you'll be a good senator. But I really hope, but I will be supporting you in the election, because you won the primary, and I hope that you proved me wrong. And Oz was like, that's okay, that's perfectly fine. And he's like, that's why I'm running. Even people that didn't vote for me, I intend to support. And then, unfortunately, at these events, people shoehorn their way in. Everybody's jockeying for position. So that was all I really got to say to him. So, but I doubt he even remembers it. He probably talked to 400 people that day. So, but that's what I said. And his team heard it, and they weren't too happy. And there were other people there that heard it. That I ended up talking to that weren't the happiest about it. So, and then there are other, like I said, there are other state-level people that I'm in the works with. Not me so much, but Carlos and Todd are talking to, and Don, and we'll see if we could get some of those, Republican, state Republican officials, people of that ilk, and, we'll see what we could do. But I'm very lucky to have even the guests that we have confirmed. Now listen, that doesn't mean that someone couldn't drop out. I'm not going to talk crap on them if they drop out. I also think that almost all of my guests are very considerate, that they know if we have to shuffle some things around, maybe take a half hour here, an hour there, that I think almost everyone would be cool with that. But I'm very excited. I understand that the quality of what I put out lacks in some ways. The equipment that I use, my editing skills, my promotion skills, I lack in a lot of these. The style that I do a show in, not a huge audience for 2-hour rants. I get that. But I do a lot very good, if I'm being honest. I do think I'm one of the best conservative debaters. I think that I make a point for conservative populism as good as anyone. I think that I'm authentic. I don't have to worry about talking to one audience differently than I talk to a different audience because this is who I am. And one of the reasons that I want to grow is I think I'm in this unique position where I am able to talk to people. I am able to be a bridge from just regular people that are watching me stream on Twitch when I don't even have a camera on a night like tonight, and getting a governor, Doug Mastriano, or getting the former president, possibly to call in, or getting the former ambassador to Denmark that's calling in. And that's one of the things that I want to do. Thank you. I did think I did very good with Destiny. I want to grow as a show because I'm selfish and I want to. And because I want my community to grow and those of you that have stuck it out with me. And because I think that I'm in a unique position based on the groundwork that I've laid to actually be a bridge from people that listen to the older like talk radio audience and people that are actual in political power right now and with the people that are in my audience. How insane. Let's go back and look at this schedule for a minute. I just want you to picture how insane this could end up being. At 6 to 7:30, I'll be talking to Dylan Burns. Can you imagine for a minute how great of a feeling it would be to be like, yeah, Dylan, you were a hypocrite on the COVID vaccine stuff, and, how's Biden doing with inflation? I'll give you the last word here, but I gotta let you go. I got someone on the other line, Donald Trump. Do you know how satisfying it would be to cut Dylan Burns off and say, I got Donald Trump on the other line. I got Dr. Oz on the other line. Now, here's the thing. As much as you dislike Dylan, and I know all of you do, Dylan would be like, that's cool. He would understand. He wouldn't be like, hold a grudge. Much like if I was on Dylan's show, and he's like, Rob, I gotta let you go. Bernie Sanders is on the other line. I wouldn't be like, damn that Dylan, he cut me off. I'm just saying it would be funny, right? And here's the thing. Let's say you're Fabian Liberty. You're LectureFan, right? You're Pisco. You could conceivably be on a show with one of the most important reporters on COVID in the country. With the sitting congressman from Pennsylvania, Glenn Thompson. And so I think, even for the people that might not agree with me on everything, it's an opportunity to showcase. I'm trying to be... Listen, I will never big time... I hope I can't say that. I hate to say I'll never do something, because you never know what the future holds. But my intent's not to big time people. I think as a streamer, it's one of the things that I've tried to do best to keep myself grounded. My grandpa taught me when I was young this sort of mantra that I've tried to live by, which is that I'm not better than anyone, but no one's better than me. And every time I say that, I have to put the caveat. Clearly, murderers, rapists, yeah, I'm better than them. But in general, what that means is, don't get too cocky. Oh, I got a graduate degree, so I'm talking to this guy that's a trucker. I know more than him. Bullshit. Some of the smartest people I know are truck drivers. I'd talk to them about almost anything in my life if I needed advice. Whether it be mechanicking, doing work around the house, whether it be helping me get through a difficult time with a family situation. Not just in their field of expertise. I know people that dropped out of high school that are some of the smartest, wisest people I've ever met. And so I learned, you shouldn't treat people like shit because of their station in life. They probably have something to add. And simultaneously, when you see people that you're like, wow, that's impressive. Look at that. There's Donald Trump. There's Paul Ryan. There's Chuck Schumer. There's this tremendous doctor, brilliant doctor. Don't get intimidated. Christopher Hitchens said in his book that I read once, treat all humans as if they are mammals. In other words, don't get intimidated. You can't help somewhat to be intimidated, but, I got that. I debated people that objectively were way smarter than me, way better than me in every way, and I beat them sometimes. Not often, but sometimes I did. 95% of the battles being like, yeah, I deserve to be here. And I wish that everyone would do that, And if you could do that, you'll stay confident, but stay humble. You don't think you're too big for people because of their station, and you don't think that you're, going to get blown out of the water because someone's so much more impressive than you. So I'm not trying to big time people, but when you're putting a show together, you do understand that, let's put it through the opposite perspective. If Destiny's putting on a show and I'm a guest, and it's me followed by Joe Biden, I get who Destiny would rather talk to. Totally get it. Wouldn't feel slighted in the least bit. Or Joe Rogan's following me up. Or Jordan Peterson. Get it. No problem. Similarly, if I'm doing a show, and Pisco's on there, and then that's being followed up by Doug Mastriano, who's the candidate for governor, or Donald Trump, or Tickleless Elmo. The big names. Those are the big names, right? But I'm never going to... I make that mistake. I can't say never. But I hope that I continue to be a person that I've exhibited, which showed I'll talk to anyone. I'll talk to people without a stream. I'll talk to people with no subscribers. I'll talk to people with 3 or 4 people watching them. At least once. If I don't like the way the conversation went, then I won't talk to them again. But I like to think that I've been an open platform for people. Almost anyone that's like, I'd like to talk to you, I'm like, okay. Until you exhibit behavior that I don't like, sure. I'll talk to them if I know that they're an expert in the field. I'll talk to them if they say, I don't know anything. And I try to approach all of it even-handedly. Until they give me a reason not to. So with bigger shows like this, and I'm going to try to keep this momentum going, trying to keep getting bigger guests, but also getting guests that are my peers, other streamers, be they left or right winger, and getting people that maybe aren't streamers, or that are just up and, just starting a channel, only have 2-3 subscribers. And so what I'm saying is, both for sort of the conservative or the right wing online sphere, but also just for sort of the politics sphere in general, I think that me being able to get these names of people that really are involved at the real level in politics is good for all of us. Now, I don't really give a shit if it helps someone like Vashon. I don't care at all, right? And I'm not losing sleep over whether or not it helps Dylan Burns or Pisco's channel. Because they don't agree with me. I don't wish any ill to their channels. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that's not a priority that really factors in. But if I'm one of those people, I'm happy with that. If Dylan Burns does a 24-hour stream, and I'm on that stream, and AOC joins that stream at some point, even if I'm not directly interacting with her, I'm happy that I'm interacting with people that are interacting with people making real policy. So much of this online sphere, and it's because it's controlled by the left, is such ridiculous, drama-filled, stupid bullshit. No, Sol Invictus, I cannot use my inside voice. Actually, I am using my inside voice. Seeing as I'm inside, and this is the voice I use. So much that you say I can't even use it once. So, by default, inside voice. So, I'm very excited about what's going on. Now, as I said, everything's open to change. We'll see. I've reached out to some other people. And again, yeah, thanks. Aftershock says I can't thank Aftershock. Aftershock is responsible for 70% of the production of this. Getting the guests together, getting the format together, getting the topics together. Connecting people to me, where they need to go. Andrew Wilson, been a big help. My friend Carlos has been a big help. Now, Carlos is probably going to want to jump on the stream with me for a lot of it. That's fine. He could join, no problem. And I have other friends, like my friend Drone Tech Politics reached out and said, hey, let me know if there's open slots. There will be. Nothing ever goes exactly as planned. So there'll be 40 minutes here, an hour there. And it's nice to know that I got people like that I could be like, Drone Tech, you busy? You want to call in and chat for a while? And he'll do it. He's great. My friend Let's Be Frank might jump on. Aircraft Sparky might jump on. Great people. Also, I know he's busy right now, so he's not watching, but I think Andrew Wilson, Big Papa Fascist, I think he would lose his fucking mind if I could get Donald Trump to come on and be like, hey, Trump, you ever heard of comfy.stream? Check it out, a free speech platform for streaming. I think that would lead to some fun. Nick Fuentes versus Andrew Wilson. Is BPF a Trumper? Yeah, I think he supports Trump. I don't know that he's 100% on board with Trump. But the America First people that he's fighting with all the time, they're big Trumpers. And so you can imagine if he could go to them with that chip on his shoulder. Guess what? My website... So, dietary-wise, what will I be doing? So, here's some, not really concerns, but here's some things I have to work on. First, so let me talk about this just in general. I won't be nervous at all. There's always a little bit of nerves, but most of the time my nerves are surrounding things that have nothing to do with what you would think. Like, I'm like, my microphone's going to crash, my damn computer will crash, the power will go out, the internet will go out, shit like that. That's the majority of my concern and worry. When I used to debate, I always get a little nervous when I debate. Even when I do debates now, I get slightly nervous. Because if you care about something, you should always worry how you do at it. Even when I was in band in high school, there'd be just your parents there watching, you'd still get a little nervous. But I'm a professional. Once it starts, that's great. Am I taking questions from chat during the interview? Sure, why not? Maybe not always. Oh, we might have something special planned for the extra hour. Because I might take a break. Thanks to... Rob's the best... I can't do a Trump accent. Rob is the best debater. Everyone thinks so. He's been doing it a long, long time. It's fantastic. He's fantastic. Can't do Trump. I'm bad at impressions. But yeah, I'll try to take questions when I can. It depends. Like, some of the people, like Glenn Thompson, basically has got 20 minutes to give me. So it'll be hard to take questions, But, Yeah, I sound more like Bernie, I know. Bad. Let me go grab a drink real quick. I don't know much about the Massachusetts governor race. I got to be honest. I just haven't checked it out, so I wouldn't even feel comfortable commenting. I think in general I could say, I think, barring any shenanigans, which we'll see, that's a big if, I think that things are even worse for Democrats than they're anticipating. So I think that some races that you would be like who thought Lee Zeldin actually has a chance? He could very well win. Yeah, Biden's tirade last night. I kind of talked about that at the beginning. They don't have anything to run on, so they just have to run on hate mongering. That's it. So, other things that so there'll be the tech issues that I'm going to try to work out, and I'll just tell you a little what's going on. So the people that Aftershock got for the show, so you're talking your Piscos, your LectureFans, Rachel and Andrew Wilson, they all have Discord. No problem. Do it through Discord. Almost none of the people that I'm talking about, like Carla Sands or Glenn Thompson, probably even Phil Kerpen, they're not going to have Discord. So then the backup is Whereby. I have a Whereby channel. Some of them will have Whereby. Some won't. So they'll be calling in on cell phones, which means they'll have to call a Google Voice number. So that's 3 different types of communications that I'm going to have with guests depending on how comfortable they are with the streaming thing. Right? And then, let's say that Carlos wants to interview Glenn Thompson with me. But Glenn's calling in through Google Voice. Carlos can't then patch into that call. I don't know how to do that. Whereas if it's on Whereby or Discord, then obviously everybody joins the call, no problem. So those sorts of technical issues I'll be worried about. And then there are other concerns. So let me give you a real concern. I mentioned this the other day when I was streaming Friday. My office is now upstairs. So Wednesday, I was showing some old videos of mine from 2020, and people were commenting on the wooden background that I had. My flag was hanging vertically, and I had a wooden background. That was because my office was downstairs in my home, right next to the living room. And then, once we got pregnant with Hank, That became Hank's nursery and now Hank's bedroom. And so Dad got the boot, so I got put in the spare bedroom upstairs, which is now my office. But there is an upstairs restroom for my needs, and I put a little mini fridge in there for my needs. The problem is, somehow, we put a dog in the upstairs restroom, and they locked the door from the inside. Somehow the door opened and they got out, but then when I shut it, it's now locked. So I got to get that door unlocked tomorrow, because that'd be a bummer if I'm locked out of that bathroom. I mean, I could walk the whole way downstairs, but who needs that? Then there's a question of what am I going to eat? Well, I plan on some coffee in the morning, beverage-wise, maybe some Diet Mountain Dews, and then plenty and plenty of water, maybe some green tea. Food-wise, I'll have little granola bars or something like that. And I'll probably sneak out for a bologna sandwich for lunch, and then my wife will probably make something for supper that I'll sneak out for real quick. Yeah, I'm on Trump speed dial, no problem. So yeah, you got dietary concerns. Then you got to get up and get out of your seat and stretch a little. Now, I wasn't going to give this away, but just for the audience watching right now, again, I didn't realize until like yesterday, this is actually going to be a 25-hour stream, because at 2 a.m. on Sunday, I think you go from 2 to 3, and then you set your clock back to 2 again, because it's daylight savings time. So that I actually, if I go 7 a.m. to 7 a.m., that's 25 hours. Which I'm still going to call it a 24-hour stream. That way no one can bullshit and say, Rob got out, Rob took 20 minutes of bathroom and food break, so he didn't technically do 24 hours. Oh no, ain't playing that game. It's going to be 24 hours, it'll be more. But maybe not, because I actually might hand over, for that second 2 a.m. hour, I might hand the reins of my show over. Now, I don't know how big of Normaniacs you all are. But if you've been following me for a while, you may be aware that once in a while, my cousin Craig actually calls into the show. And I thought, maybe I'll leave Craig run the show for an hour. I think you guys will really like Craig. Craig is a progressive. He lives in our spare room because he chooses not to work. He's never paid for a bill or anything. Very interesting guy. I think you guys will love him. I was scheduled to do a debate at one point. I can't remember who I was supposed to debate, and they backed out at the last minute, and so Craig stepped in to debate me instead. It was a very interesting debate. So maybe Craig will run that out. I don't know if Craig could go a full hour. That's a lot to ask, but maybe. Normie. Yeah, I didn't even think of normies. I was going with Normaniacs. I could go with normies. Craig sucks, says Ticklish Elmer. Hey now, he's my flesh and blood, Ticklish Elmo doesn't like him. He does have a bad work ethic. That's true. But you gotta stick up for family, right? So, yeah, we'll see. I mean, and I gotta give a special shout out to people like, regardless of what you think of them, like someone like Pisco and someone like Fabian Liberty. I mean, these are people that are gonna call in at 2 a.m., 4 a.m. I mean, those are some troopers there, It's one thing to be like, yeah, I'll do your show from 5 p.m. to 6 p.m., but to be like, shit, yeah, I'll do the 4 a.m. hour. I mean, it's funny because Fabian, we're probably going to have a deep conversation about whether or not we should vote for third parties like libertarians over Republicans. And I'm going to be, my brain's going to be a little stretched thin at that point, Yeah, Craig does have a good voice, I agree. I'm at work or I could bring him out now, but I got to remember how Craig sounds too. I remember someone pointing to me, that debate I did, it was Craig, me and Craig. Let's see if I can find this. You might get a kick out of this. I think I showed this on the show, but someone showed me. Chud Logic actually sort of reviewed my debate with Craig, which is pretty funny. You see the brilliant Chud Logic here reviewing my debate with Craig. Just to give you all a little idea of what to expect with Craig here, if you haven't seen him before. That was supposed to be on the Crucible, so I found a last-minute replacement that was game enough. Hopefully this goes well. They don't have a video or anything like that, but we're going to have a discussion surrounding critical race theory and some other stuff. It should go about an hour long, so I'm excited to be...
Is it CTV? Is CTV going to come on and be a soy?
Doing this. So why don't you debate me, Chud? Oh yeah, it didn't go great when Chud debated me. So go ahead, Craig. You wanted to talk to me, and thank you so much for being here. Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
No way! It was even worse than I thought. What? There's no way. I don't believe this is real.
Like, I'm so excited to be able to do this debate tonight because I think that you're just a neo-Nazi fascist, and it's time progressives start culling out fascists like you. And I understand that you think you're some bully, trying to go up against some 17-year-old, but when you face off against someone like me, a true progressive, you'll see that you don't know what you're talking about. So let me just start off with my statements. First off, my pronouns are he, her, and zer, and I heard you say his earlier. That's not my pronoun. My pronoun in that sort of possessive is zer, so I'd appreciate if you call me zer, so I'll expect apologies for that. Yeah, I'm sorry. It's difficult. I'm not used to these types of pronouns, so it's difficult for me. I am sorry. I didn't mean anything by it. I really will try my best. But
there's no way. This is real. He's lost his mind. He's fucking lost his mind. This is like turbo straw manning right here, right? Like, maybe it's the most literal definition of it even. He has literally created a fake character to tear down. Do you know what I mean? There is some truth in it. There is some level of truth, But like, this is clearly he's pissed off that people have said, a variety of people have said this kind of stuff to him, and he wants to kind of demolish it, Now
we'll stop with the great Chud Logics. Suffice it to say, later in that video, Chud wants to know if I really believe what I'm doing. Oh boy. I debated Chud Logic also in modern day debates on whether or not conservatives were censored more on places like Twitter. That didn't age well for Chud Logic, did it? As I knew it wouldn't. I gotta say, Chud is someone who was like contentious when I was on panels. Actually, the debate I had with him on modern day debates was one of my favorite, most surprising debates I had, because I thought it was going to get very chippy, and it wasn't. It was a pretty respectful debate. Of course, it didn't. It also helps me enjoy that debate because he basically just was like, oh, okay, and agreed with me once I showed him the actual facts. But, yeah, I don't know what he was implying, David, if he thought I had an actual cousin named Craig, which clearly I do. Thoughts on Geno Smith and the Seattle Seahawks? I'll be honest, I don't follow the NFL like I used to. I follow the Steelers somewhat casually, and that's about it. So I don't even know how the Seahawks are doing this year. They're not undefeated like the Eagles, I know that. So yeah, Chud doesn't understand parody, yeah. But yeah, it's fun stuff. But that's, I did a panel or two with Chud, and that was basically my only interactions. So I don't have much to say about him. I can't say. I thought that was funny. So, yeah, I'm not going to be here Friday. This is my final show before the 24-hour stream. And come hell or high water, I'm preparing things, and I got backup plans. If my computer shits the bed, I got my laptop here. If the camera shits the bed, I got my cell phone. I'm doing the stream come hell or high water. If it comes down to me doing it via the phone, then I'll do it via the phone. It's going to happen. If every guest cancels, then every guest cancels. I'm still doing the stream. I don't anticipate any of that, but that's just, it's happening. The stream is happening. Other people do 8-hour shows. I've seen 16-hour shows. Not many people do the 24 hours. Yeah, I should put my Discord back up, huh? I had some people help me out with setting that up previously, and I'll have to reach out. I think Aftershock helped with that and some other people. I'll have to reach out and get that done again. So it is time to set it back up, I think. And we'll start pushing that coming into the new year. A community for us on Discord. There's going to have to be rules, though. You got to understand, fuck Discord, right? Understand this. If I set that back up, there will be progressive people. There will be the Keffels mob type people that are there trying to find one iota of someone using the wrong pronoun one time to get me banned. And so, it's not me enforcing that, it's them enforcing that. And so we'll be forced to make sure that we're policing ourselves. Which sucks, but that's the reality of it. That's what happened last time. I looked and looked and looked and could not find the comment that they were, Maybe I will get a blue check on Twitter. I'll be the big man then, huh? Woo! But, no, I'm looking forward to it. And, it's nice to... I appreciate all of you. I appreciate people like Aftershock, BPF, Carlos. It really does show you that, we do have a community here. In many ways, these sorts of platforms, and not just Twitch, not just YouTube, and not just DLive or Comfy or Twitter, the idea in general, it's an amazing thing. You could see the hopeful nature of the internet, right? Think of where we've gone in the past 60, 70 years when it comes to the flow of information. Newspapers, radio, television news, local television. I remember in high school, I wanted to be a journalist, and I remember going to tour KDKA, which is, I believe, the first radio station ever. And then, obviously, they have a TV station now. And I remember talking to this guy. I can't remember his name, but he worked at KDKA. And I asked, I was like, what do you think the future of media is? And he said, in the next few decades, local news will be almost totally irrelevant. Everything will be national news. And I was like, that's silly. That's kind of where we're at. When I was growing up, you watched the 5 o'clock news. Not everyone, but that was it. Now it's I can't tell you the last time I've watched the local news. But think of that. Think of being in that world where it was even I started college in 2002. It's a communications major. I was going to get a journalism degree, and then I switched to speech communication, doing sort of debate. But I remember you take those first, introduction to journalism class, media ethics classes, and it's 6 major corporations controlled such and such amount of the news, and gatekeeping. The internet was going to be this great equalizer, You didn't know what someone in Russia was thinking unless those 8 corporations controlling the news told you what to think. But now you can talk to someone from Russia. If you have 2 newspapers in your town at one point, and neither of them want to cover the corrupt business in town that's their biggest advertiser, that's, doing something shady, then you didn't hear about it. If the network news stations weren't covering a story nationally on their weekend programs, you didn't hear about it. Now some guy like me, some nobody, with no connections. That's how I started out. I still have very little connections. My people, my connections, are the greatest people in the world. Blue-collar workers, my family, my friends. We don't know anyone. I always think it's funny. You hear all these stories about, crazy criminals or, this worker or that worker, and it's they're connected to the FBI in this way, and this guy's uncle was a CIA agent, and, this woman's sister actually, is a politician and works at It's all this weird connections everywhere. We don't have that in my area of the world. We're all from here. We don't have those connections. And someone like me, I could get on here and talk, and maybe only 4 or 5 people are listening. Oh well, I'd still say what I want. And there could be millions of people like me. That's basically what social media is. Yeah, there's a communication aspect to it, but it's the public discourse now. It's one of the reasons that the mainstream media, the legacy media, and the establishment hates it. It's the primary reason. Because they can't have control over the narrative if everyone's speaking. And so there are tons of problems. We talk about it all the time. But in spite of those problems, it's still worth fighting. It's still worth being on these platforms. Because despite everything, they're still very powerful. And the reason you know they're powerful is because the worst people, the worst authoritarian, globalist, establishment hacks are desperately trying to censor you from these platforms. And that's how you know that they know how powerful it could be. Thanks, Gizmo. I appreciate it. That's right, Will Sample. It's no longer possible to get the news through a single lens. Absolutely true. I'm not entitled to anything. You know, how many people are incredibly talented at their hobby or at their field and they never get a break? You know, how many musicians or painters or, you know, they never get that chance. The right people didn't notice them. No one's entitled to anything like that. I don't think I am. But I'm grateful for the opportunity. You know, I've put time in. I've put hours and hours and hours in. I put years in. And still, when I'm streaming, you know, I'm talking like I made it. I'm big time. What do I got watching here? Oh, no, wrong. Let's see. How many people are watching me right now? Not going to be big. 40? Guess? Yeah. 41 people. Yeah. I streamed audiences of 1, 2. Thanks, Will Simple. I appreciate the follow. Yeah, you can use me as debate practice sometime, Tickle. Absolutely. You know, I stream with 2, 3 people watching me forever. I'll put videos up on YouTube. Like, I put these videos up this week on YouTube. They're on Rumble as well, but made a little thumbnail, did the things I'm supposed to do. You know, I'm not perfect, but I tried. So these ones here, short form videos, 212 views, 148 views. You know, my Herschel Walker one got almost 400 views. Sam Harris got 284. And these 65, 58, 84, 44. I don't get a big reach. I don't. But I'm incredibly grateful that anyone wants to listen to me. And what I'm trying to say is, I think it's important, you know, I would guess, I could be wrong. I'm sure there's a way to figure this out. When it comes to people that subscribed or have donated, the percentage of people that watch me, that subscribe to me or donate, I have to be near the top 10% of everyone on YouTube and Twitch. I don't have a lot of people watching me, but the people that do are incredibly supportive of me. And I am humbled for that. There are people with channels 5 times bigger than me with nightly viewership that'll struggle to get 2,000 subscribers. Thanks, Brandon. You've been here since November, December 2020. Thank you so much. And so, I really do appreciate it more than you know. And I wish I could do more to give back. But I'm not a wealthy person, and I don't have a lot of free time. Thanks, Tickle Assemble. Thanks for the gifted sub. I appreciate it. So the least I could do is do a stream like this 24-hour stream. And we'll set a new subscriber goal, and we're gonna set a goal of comfy subscribers. That's the next thing I want to do. Followers and subscribers on comfy. And maybe we'll have a goal, like the goal will be something, it's not even subscriber oriented. Maybe it'll be like, we'll do another special show if I could get 100 simultaneous viewers on comfy.stream, or something like that, or 200. Who knows? But I'm going to put on the best show I can Saturday. It's going to be fun. It's going to be entertaining. We're going to have big guests. We're going to push people to get out there and vote Republican. We're going to have clips that we're going to be able to put out. People will be able to clip to encourage people to vote. We're going to make sure here in Pennsylvania that it's getting shared to local Facebook pages, Republican County Facebook pages. Reasons to get out there and vote. We're going to encourage people no matter how confident they are. I don't care if you're in a district that there's a 99.9% chance that the conservative or the Republican's going to win. We have to push like we're losing every single race until the finish line. Because we are stacked up against the most powerful, corrupt, monolithic establishment that's ever been known. Now, I don't say this that like, Rob's saying they're worse than the Nazi. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying the effective tools they have to control information is more sophisticated and powerful than the world's ever known. The amount of wealth they control, the amount of power they control. I don't care if you're in deep blue California and you're like, well, there's no chance that a Republican wins here. Do your best. Get out there and vote. That's what we're going to do. That's what we're encouraging people to do. So it'll be fun. It'll be informative. I'm really looking forward to it. I really am. I'll give my predictions that I think's going to happen on Tuesday on the election. We'll talk about the issues that I think are the most important. I'll make my case. I'll bring on the guest. I'll debate the people that want to debate. Tuesday night next week, I'll be streaming with Let's Be Frank and some people on election night for some amount of time. And then I'm going to take a break. Come hell or high water. You're not going to see me next Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I mentioned this earlier in the show. You might say, let's say the Republicans lose for whatever reason. You might say, Rob's molding. I'm not. Let's say the Republicans dominate even better than anyone's anticipated. What Rob's done now, the Republicans won, so he's done. No, I'm not. What I'm doing is spending time with my family. I've been, if you're just tuning in, I've been stuck at work all week. I have not seen my wife, other than spurts and on FaceTime on my phone since Sunday night. She has sacrificed a lot for me, for my job, for me, for my channel. I'm coming home tomorrow, and then instantly Saturday I'm gone another 24 hours. I'll be up streaming. So it's not fair to her. It's not fair to my son. So we got a hotel Wednesday, Thursday next week. We're taking my son Hank, who's almost 2 years old. We're going to take him to the aviary in Pittsburgh. We're going to take him to the Children's Museum. So that's where my focus is going to be Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And then we'll jump back in. We'll jump back into streaming next week. And I'm jiving in with both feet. I'm going to start doing the short form content, trying once a day, at least 5 videos a week. Trying to do that, like the little 2-minute videos or something like that, or 5-minute videos. I'm going to try to do the live streams every weekend at 9 p.m. So that's what my goal is. That's the plan here. So, and I do think everyone understands that I won't be streaming tomorrow night because I got to get some sleep. I got to get prepared for the Saturday stream. So, I'll start streaming Saturday at 7 a.m. That probably means I'm going to be up at 6 a.m. I'm going to get a shower, get some coffee in me, and then start making sure all my tech's working and all that good stuff and everything's set up. And then I'll probably even be streaming before 7 a.m. That's probably what'll happen. But 7 a.m. is when we'll have the official kickoff from the show, and that'll be that. So, what I would all love from you all, I can't really... I'm in a weird setup here. I'll try my best here. But is there a way to do this? Like, if you could see, like, all my links there, like my Twitter link, it's just at @NorRobert. Follow me on Twitter. I'm going to be tweeting out from tonight till tomorrow. Hey, do you like Fabian Liberty? Guess who's going to be on my live stream? You can find it here. Put the Twitch link if you're only going to put one link. You know? November 5th, 7 a.m. Tune in. 24-hour stream. And then 3 hours later, maybe I'll put, want to see me crush Dylan Burns? Tune in. Carla Sands, former ambassador to Denmark and candidate for Senate as a Republican. She'll be joining us, you know. And if you do retweet those, or if you want to tweet out your own things, you know, I'm going to try to tweet at people like Jack Posobiec, or Tim Pohl, or Jesse Kelly, or Mike Cernovich, or Styx Hexenhammer, or, you know, those type of people that are bigger audiences than me, that I would love to get on to be able to talk. So I'm going to try to be, even though I'm going to be busy tomorrow, I'm going to try to be putting that out there, using Twitter, to try to draw people in, and hopefully you all do the same. So you could, you know, again, the only concern other than just normal concern about technology failing me, the only concern that I have is that I'm going to have great guests that don't have the eyeballs on them that they deserve. You know, best COVID reporter in the country, Phil Kerpen. Former ambassador to Denmark, Carla Sands. Senior Republican congressman in Pennsylvania, Glenn Thompson. Maybe a long shot, Donald Trump. Can you imagine if Donald Trump calls into my show and I only have like 40 people watching? Can you imagine how insane that would be? Well, you could be black-pilled, that's fun. Baldwin. But you can still tune into my Saturday show because it'll be fun nonetheless. Because I'm funny and entertaining and all of that good stuff. So if you want to help me out, follow me on Twitter. Retweet those posts, you know. Let people know that maybe you know. Thanks, Baldwin, yeah. I'm fun. And yeah, let's make it a good show. Let's make it a show to remember. And, you know, who knows? Maybe this is something we could have as like a biannual tradition, or, you know, what's the word for a quarterly tradition? Where every 3 months we do a 24-hour stream. Yeah, I am a weird dude. That's a compliment. I'll take that. Yeah. So, all right, everyone. Let's see if there's someone to raid. It's 11. So, also, keep me in your thoughts and prayers that the guy who's supposed to show up to work tomorrow does, so I could actually go home. Because, God, I'm ready to go home. Oh, there's my friend Pete the Patriot. He's on. Let's try to raid him. Last time I tried to raid Pete, it didn't work, and I don't know why. So let's try that. I think you guys will like Pete the Patriot. Really good guy. One of those guys that's been toiling away, man. Pete, you know, I know he has a YouTube channel, but Pete's been putting out great content for a long time. You know, and he's just super, super humble dude, super great guy. So, yeah, thanks. Me too, Aftershock. And again, thank you so much. Thanks, Baldwin Orange. I appreciate it. But yeah, thank you so much again for the help, Aftershock. It's really appreciated. It really is. This stream tomorrow, if it wasn't for Aftershock, literally would just be me for 24 hours. Maybe Aftershock would have felt bad for me and called in. That would have been it, though. So, yeah. That's what a community's about, so I appreciate it. So, all right. I will see you all 7 a.m. November 5th. Remember, the 5th of November. 7 a.m. We're going to push Republicans over the finish line. We're going to have a lot of fun. It's going to be a great stream. We're going to joke around. Oh, look at that. First time executive 2022 says, judges should be locking up criminals, and yet Donald Trump, Steve Bannon, and unindicted crooks. That's so true. What did I say that led to that? Right? I wasn't talking about judges locking up criminals. That's so true. It's almost like you're just a bot or some jack-off that's just coming into threads that say Republican or something and posting inane bullshit that has nothing to do with what the people we're talking about. That's okay, Executive 2022. Even in your ham-fisted attempts to derail, I was leaving anyways. Right? So thanks for increasing my viewership, even ever so slightly. Tell your friends, 24-hour stream Saturday, they can come and be made fools of too. So enjoy this raid of Pete the Patriot. I can't wait to see you all Saturday. No, good. The raid is working this time. Thank goodness. So you guys are going to like Pete. Stick around. Consider giving him a follow. You know, stick around for 15, 20 minutes. I'm sure you'll like his show. So thank you all so much. We will see you Saturday, November 5th, 7 a.m. Can't wait. See you all then. Thanks so much, and as always, have a good one.
Great rest of your Thursday night. Bye-bye.